I am the CTO of Atom Learning. We are an education company, and we kind of have two halves of our business, but all of it is kind of focused on exam preparation and also exam taking. So if you do like doing exams, look us up. What I will cover here is not actually why we chose Cockroach, because I think lots of other talks will cover that, but specifically how we managed to migrate to Cockroach, and particularly doing this with zero downtime. So I'll talk a little bit about why zero downtime was important to us. I'll then talk you through our implementation that we did for this, which used feature toggles very heavily. I'll then cover whether it worked. I mean, spoiler alert, I probably wouldn't be doing a talk if it didn't. But yeah, I'll talk you through exactly kind of the key takeaways that we had for it, and I'll wrap up. So why was zero downtime important for us? We have a global user base. There's basically no good time to take our platform offline. We do have a sort of UK focus, but we work with a lot of British international schools in particular, and they are kind of sitting exams all around the clock, and it's kind of not really good enough to say, by the way, the platform's going to be down for 4 hours whilst we migrate our database, and you won't notice any difference when we turn it back on. So yeah, we needed to serve that global user base. But we also didn't want a kind of big bang switchover. So this was migrating from our legacy MySQL databases over to Cockroach. And this is obviously the database is your persistent storage layer. It's the most important layer when it comes to keeping your platform online. And we sort of knew that stuff would go wrong, and we wanted the ability to revert either entirely or revert feature by feature, so that we were able to kind of gradually do this migration and explore the new technology that was Cockroach in production as easily as possible. We also knew that we would find some bugs. This primarily the main feature that we migrated first was our question response feature. So this is every single answer that a student gives on our platform gets saved into a database. We have hundreds of millions of these responses, and we knew that there would be some sort of discrepancies, something that we'd need to investigate, and we wanted to be able to resolve those without any time pressure of the whole platform's currently on fire. Please, can you come fix this as quickly as possible? So. The process that we went through for this was implementing feature toggles. We used an open source platform called Unleash for this, but there are lots of others available. The main kind of system diagram for this looked a little bit like this. So students would answer a question on our platform that would come into our API layer and go into our response service. The response service would then reach out to Unleash and ask whether a toggle was enabled or not, and what percentage of traffic should be sent to either destination. And then we basically had a kind of shadow write system. So we were still writing to our legacy MySQL database, but we were also writing to our new Cockroach database in parallel. And the feature toggle system allowed us to configure the percentage of traffic going to each. So we started with a very small amount just to start us off and see if there are any sort of major problems. And then we ramped that up to 100% as we moved on through the migration. And then for the read side of things, we basically had the same setup. So the response service is constantly polling Unleash to see what the state of the feature toggle is. And then we have both of our data sources, so both MySQL and Cockroach being read from in parallel. And what was kind of great about this is it meant that we didn't have to do a code deployment in order to change which one of those was the source of truth. So we were able to have all of our code deployed, have our system running using MySQL as the source of truth, and then at any point, if we wanted to, we could switch over to say, actually now use Cockroach as your source of truth, and hopefully no users would even notice. The other thing that this kind of allowed us to do is really change the source of truth based on user group as well. So we have different groups of users on our platform. Some of them are high risk in terms of really can't go wrong. Doing an entrance exam for their 11 plus right now really can't go down. And then we have lower stakes ones where they might be doing a mock exam or doing something at school. We were able to migrate by user group using this toggle system so that we could migrate the lower stakes users first to make sure that everything was looking okay, and then migrate the higher stakes ones afterwards. The other thing we then did is built a kind of comparison function. So what we really wanted to know was, were there any differences between our migrations? So, was the MySQL database behaving any differently to the Cockroach database? So we also added a kind of comparison into the read process, which essentially would just check if they are if they're the same, or if there's any differences in the two databases that's been returned. And if there was, we would log that in an audit log that we could then pour through and make sure that we understood why those discrepancies were there, or if, as happened, found a few bugs or a few things in the new database that we needed to resolve. That allowed us to do this. And the main point of this is we were doing this all in production. So when we started our trial with Cockroach, there was lots of discussions about, okay, well, do you want to do it on the test environment and the pre-prod environment and this? And I was like, no, we'll just go straight to production. It's fine. Because of the toggle system, it allows you to have complete control over that. And you are testing with prod-like data because it's prod data. And we've found that generally that approach has been really beneficial to getting features shipped to customers really quickly without compromising on the quality or the ability to revert things and still make sure that the customers are getting a good user experience. The final thing that we did, just to kind of complete the picture, was we backfilled all of our historic data. So as I said, we have about 500 million rows in this table that was our kind of main migration. Obviously, the point at which we turned on the shadow writes to be 100% writing to both, we had all of the data from that point, but we needed to backfill all of the historic data as well. So we used our existing data pipelining tooling to just transfer everything so that both databases then completely matched. So did it work? Yes. It took about 2 months to do this migration. It was, for our main feature, this is, we're still doing it feature by feature for other features that are kind of slightly lower stakes. We're still monitoring the results, but basically, it went very, very smoothly. We did find a number of discrepancies that were, things were behaving slightly differently, or we actually found a bunch of bugs that existed in our legacy database that we were able to then fix in the new database, which was great. It gave us a huge amount of confidence in our data because, this was the first, it's a massive table. It's very hard to assess the data quality of it without a lot of work. And this approach allowed us to really understand the differences and verify that all 500 million rows were perfect in terms of their schema and quality. And yeah, we were able to test with very low risk, really. It allowed us to test all of this new infrastructure. This was a brand new database for us. All of the DevOps side of that, so connecting up to it, and all of that we were able to test in production. And then once we were happy with it, we just knew that we could switch off the feature toggles and remove them, and then everything kind of continues working as it was. And there's no kind of final step that you need to do, which is great. And as with all migrations, no one noticed, and that's a good sign that it went well. So yeah, just to wrap up, we successfully changed our database. We did that with 0 downtime and 0 impact on users. We used feature toggles to test that in production. And we were able to do that feature by feature with our main ones now done. And that's me.